Welcome back to another video. In today's video I want to talk about vulnerability. It's something that was a big part of my therapy in the 3 years that I went. It was very, very big. I remember after a couple sessions, couple months, my therapist had told me about this girl. Her name is Brene Brown, and she has two TED Talks. One of them is on vulnerability, the other is on shame. They're both very good videos. I'm going to put a link to those in the description below. And just the one on vulnerability, they kind of both go hand in hand, but just vulnerability itself is, I think it's taken wrong in society today. So a lot of people, they kind of perceive it as like a weakness, right? You know, for you to be vulnerable, put yourself out there. But it's far from it, right? It's essentially the opposite. So I just want to kind of speak on it a little bit in her video. Like I said, there'll be a link down there, but you know, kind of a small clip of her video. She kind of talks about how, you know, she was a researcher. She's trying to see about connection and what makes some people have the ability to connect with people and others struggle for it. And she talks a lot about how vulnerability was the missing element in those, and how her definition of vulnerability is something along the lines of, is there something about me that if people know it or see it, that they won't be worthy of connection, right? And that's shame and vulnerability, you know, all in one. And I think, you know, just watching that was so powerful for me, because so you go to a party and, you know, you've all felt it before, right? You go to a party where, you know, you don't know a lot of people, and then you just have these thoughts that are just running around your head of like, you know, is this person this or this or this, or do they want to talk to me and all that. And watching that, obviously, you know, it's not something where you're going to watch it once or twice and you're going to understand it and be like, oh, great, I'm just going to be vulnerable. I want to do it. You know, it doesn't really work like that. You have to like slowly work on it, right? You have to slowly understand the concept behind it, and then, you know, these small steps. You know, if you could do big steps, that's great, but not everyone can, right? Of course. So obviously the video was really great, and I just wanted, I guess, you know, just a quick video just on it, and then want to maybe share some experiences, right? Just so you can see like how real this is. So there's this one girl, and I met her at it's called like Gold Spike. It's like a hangout spot, right? We were dancing a little bit. That's where I'm my most comfortable is dancing. And actually, you know, I got her number, started talking, stuff like that. We went on a date a couple months later, and now we're at like Valentine's Day. You guys ready for this one? So on Valentine's Day, right, we had gone out like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks before that. So obviously, you know, I thought the date went well, and you know, I was like, all right, well, you know, let's get her something. So I'm like, all right, well, you know, we only went on one date, so I'm not gonna be weird. So I got her like some chocolates and this bear. It just said like hugs on it. So nothing, didn't want to say nothing like too out there, like I love you and stuff like that. It was one date, come on now, right? Even I know that. But anyways, so I go in. She's actually a cocktail waitress at the Wynn. So I walk into the Wynn. You know, I always have dress clothes on, but you know, dress clothes and the chocolates and the bear. And I go up to one of the, I'm kind of nervous, I'm walking back and forth. But anyways, I walk up to one of the cocktail waitresses, and I'm like, hey, is so-and-so there? And she goes, oh, let me check. She goes in the back, and, you know, standing there, kind of waiting, a little nervous. And she comes out 5 minutes later. She says, we don't have anybody on the schedule with that name. And I'm like, okay. She's like, give me 1 second, let me talk to my manager. And I'm like, okay, great. And I'm like, okay, great. Calming myself down again. Like, you know, she's new or whatever, right? So the manager comes out like in 5 more minutes, right? And she goes, oh, we don't have anybody who works here under that name. So I'm like, okay. I was just feeling like, whoa, like what's going on? So then she's like, are you sure she doesn't work at Encore? Because even though it's owned by the same person, right, it's technically two different properties, so we don't have their schedule. So another sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, great. She didn't lie to me. I'm like, okay, great. And then she goes, if you want to go over to the podium desk right over there, they'll be able to contact that side and double check for you. So I said, thank you so much. I walk over there, walk up to the guy and, give him the same thing. Hey, I'm looking for, so-and-so, and just want to give this to her for today. He calls over. After like 5-10 minutes of calling, he goes, we don't have anybody that works there under that name. And then he goes, did you have any phone number I can give her a call at? So I give him the number. He dials the number. After like 5 seconds, he's like, so this phone doesn't take incoming calls. So now I'm standing there, right? Like, and then the guy, this is fantastic. The guy looks at me. He goes, sir, I could take this. I just don't know if it's going to get to the right person. And I'm standing there, and I'm looking at him, and it felt like longer, but it's maybe about 5 seconds, right? And then I go, no, it's okay, I'll take it. So then I go home. Well, actually, I walk to my car, and I'm feeling like, man, like, did she lie to me? Maybe she's just not here today, So then I'm friends with her on Facebook, so I message her through the Messenger app, and, I'm like, you know what, let's calm down. You don't know, right? My coping skills I had learned, right, through therapy. I'm like, you have no idea, if she does work there or not. Just because they said they didn't doesn't mean that that's true. There could be other reasons as to why they said that, and just calming myself down and not going too negative, because that's what you do when you have, anxiety or depression. You kind of run through it. So I texted her when I got home, and I'm terrible with editing, but I'll try to put it somewhere. So you guys could see it, because I still have the text, and don't really delete text. I was actually talking to my friend the other day. They're like, you don't delete text? I'm like, no, I don't really have that many friends, so like, there's nothing to delete. So like, but it should be here, so you can clearly see that like, I did message her, and she messaged me back, and she said thank you, of course, and but there was no actual effort to come pick it up, to meet me so I can give it to her and go out again. There was like none. So like after about, I don't know, 2-3 months, I actually ate the chocolates. They were pretty good. And then the bear, I don't remember what I did with the bear. Oh, wait a minute, here it is. But yeah, so like I have it still, and I don't like, it's not something where like I hold it and I'm like, oh, I cry, myself to sleep or nothing like that. It just reminds me that like, I put myself out there, right? And I went on a date with a girl that I thought it went well, and, maybe she didn't think it went well. But I still gave myself that opportunity, right? I gave myself the chance. Now, let me toss this aside. But let me get into, just the feelings of that, right? Is like, okay, well, she's a person, right? Like, she doesn't have to like me, right? So you have to understand that as well. When you put yourself out there and stuff, you're not always going to get, what you want, right? It's more just a feeling of like, okay, great, I did it. I gave myself the chance. And that's the point, is when you have depression, anxiety, you kind of not do certain things and you don't even give yourself the chance. Whereas, there is a chance that, she could have said, oh, thank you so much, and we could have met, went on another date, and maybe it could have gone something from there. But just the act of me doing that, a lot of times, I think a lot of people would say, oh, well, she's just a stupid bitch, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and, like, I don't want to fucking talk to her, and I hate girls like that, and da-da-da-da, right? And those are just, like, negative cycles in terms of, I guess, just a stereotype for women, which is not great to have a stereotype for anybody. You want to judge the person based on who they are and how they treat you, not based on some stereotype, which is difficult, right? Sometimes you have the initial stereotype and you have to remind yourself to treat this person with respect and treat them as an individual. But I felt great after doing it, and discussed it with my therapist, what happened, and, everything was good. And, I try to do that now, and not just with, dating relationships, right? I have another example for you guys. This one girl that, I had met a couple months back. We met on Tinder, and we were talking, and she's actually a real estate agent just like me, so that's fantastic, right? So you're talking a little bit, and, I guess one day we kind of got into an argument, and, it is what it is, and, I didn't realize until like a couple of days later, but she had blocked me after the argument, like blocked me. No number, social media, right? No contact. And again, like in that situation, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I misinterpreted something, but I don't feel like I did anything wrong. But, again, you don't get to tell people what to do and what not to do. And so, like, we had gone out on one date, and I thought it went well. And, she was a very nice person. And obviously, she's around my age and a real estate agent. I think the average realtor is like in their 40s. So, like, not many people that are my age, which is nice to have, right? But again, she blocks me, so no contact at all. So a couple months go by, and, I remembered, I was like, oh, it was her birthday just passed, she had told me it, and I remembered. So I'm like, I'm going to get her something. Like, just because she blocked me, like, she's still, like, that doesn't change for me, right? Because, like, we went on a date. She was a nice person, right? Like, we're both real estate agents, right? I, like, hope that she's doing well and doing successful. So I'm like, okay, let me get her something. I'm like, well, I don't want to get her, like, something too crazy. I'm not trying to, like, I'm not trying to get her, like, as in this situation, right? Some people would get someone a gift like that, and you hope that they start talking back to you, right, and they forgive you or whatever. But for me, it was, just something small, some small flowers and a card. And on the card, it was just like, hey, I know I'm a little late getting your birthday present. Just want to say happy birthday. Hope everything's doing well with you in real estate. I'm actually 2 weeks away from my first closing, which was 2 weeks ago, by the way. Oh my gosh. But anyways, like, I'm 2 weeks away from getting my first deal, and I hope everything's going well, right? So I dropped it off at her office, let the receptionist know it was for her, and the next day she had texted me. She's like, hey, thank you for getting me that, and, we just had a conversation and all that stuff, and, we're essentially friends now. So, like, right? So, like, now we're friends, right? We actually both went to the Tom Ferry Blueprint event, right? You guys know because of that last video, right? So we both went there, and, essentially during that conversation, she had said, yeah, it's really nice to actually have another person that is in real estate that we could be, on a professional level. And I'm like, yeah, of course, that was, what I thought of as well, after, I realized that, there was, like, no, like, relationship there, right? And I think that's another example, right? Whereas most people, would have said, like, oh, da-da-da-da, this, and this about her, and da-da-da, she blocked you. That clearly means she doesn't want to talk to you ever again, and, da-da-da-da-da, right? And all these, like, negative things. And for me, it's like, okay, well, she doesn't want to talk to me again. That's fine. That still is not going to change, like, myself. Like, I still know she's a good person. Just because she doesn't want to talk to me doesn't make her a bad person, right? Just like if a girl doesn't want to go out with me, it doesn't make them a bad person. It is what it is. They're all everyone is allowed to make their own choices. So for me, it was more of, even if she doesn't want to talk to me, anymore, I still hope that she's doing well. So that's why I got her the card. Now, obviously, we've become friends, and so, now we'll, I'll text her about, whatever's going on in real estate for me, and, another class, or, a conference that I'm going to go to, and if she wanted to go, and she does the same with me. So had I not been vulnerable, right, and put myself out there, we probably would not have been friends, right? I would have just not contacted her, and then obviously she probably would have not contacted me, and then we would just not been friends. But because I am conditioned, right, to believe that doesn't mean a negative, right? Being vulnerable, being the first person to say, hey, like, I hope we can still be friends, and da-da-da-da-da, and, like, I take it seriously, or even, relationship aspect, or, anything, really, anything, that makes you vulnerable, anything that you feel, and you guys have felt it before, everyone has, that feeling of, like, oof, where the negative thoughts start running, you're like, should I do this? Can I do this? And I just want to share, I guess, a couple examples just so you can see how I implement it in my own life. But obviously, like I said in the second video actually, right, this channel is not about me. Like, yes, I'm growing on a personal level as well, but this channel is about you. This channel is about you people who come to the channel for help and advice. So obviously you heard some of my stories, which, I think some of you heard those stories like, what a freaking idiot, right? But I guess I would challenge you to think about maybe something that's going on in your life that you don't do because you're afraid of either how others will perceive you, which is usually where that social anxiety comes in, or just, you're worried about, looking stupid or dumb or, whatever that is. And really try to, like, question it and say to yourself, well, why would you care if you look dumb or you look stupid or people laugh at you? Like, why would that matter? We're all people, right? And that was a big one for me to learn as well. We're all people. We're all trying. And I think we're all trying to be happy, right? Now, each person, you can ask 100 different people and get 100 different answers of what makes them happy. And I guess that's what makes the world great, right? Because there's so much diversity. So at the end of the day, you have to do what makes you happy. And if you're not doing it, you're going to regret it when you get older. And that's not a feeling that I ever want anymore, I have a bunch of, like, stuff that I regret that I didn't do when I was in high school, because of the depression and anxiety kind of held me back. But the way that I am now, and the reason why I do so many things and I'm so busy is because I do not ever want to look back at another day and say to myself, man, I didn't give my full effort, or I didn't do this because of these people I was afraid of. And I still have those fears, right? Like, you guys saw it clearly in the first video. I was standing up here talking. It was pretty bad, and I whispered. I was no talking. There's no volume, right? I was nervous about how everyone would perceive the video and how it's going to work. So, like, I'm always working on that. But I try to push past it. I try to say, you know what, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird, but we're going to do it anyways. And I guess just to wrap it up, another small example was I did door knocking yesterday. So it was a real estate thing, right? I just sold a home in the neighborhood. I got a flyer and I was door knocking, and the first couple doors were terrible. Like, the first lady, like, she was, like, so, like, scared of opening the door that, like, and I wasn't prepared, I read scripts, but, like, I wasn't great at it. So, like, it kind of got me off guard, and I was kind of uncomfortable. And the first couple doors were that way. And then as you keep knocking on more doors and more people answer and you get to engage with more people, you start to learn a better way to do it, right? And that's really every process, you don't just go to the gym and you're fantastic at it. So, like I said, it's probably a little longer video, than I've done in the past. So if you're still watching, I definitely appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button and definitely subscribe. I think I'm almost at 20 subscribers, guys. So, like, I just need, like, one more, I think. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys tuning into the video, and stay tuned for the next video. Oh my gosh, it's going to be great. It is another video of, like, I guess you could call it live training with talking to girls. But it won't be me doing it, but I won't give that away. So you're going to have to watch the next video to see who it is. All right, guys, have a good one.